Welcome to this video on a excursion from the premiere, and we're about to embark on a thrilling exploration of episode 8, Forest for the Trees. This episode title is a chilling reminder that cautions about getting so entangled in the details that we lose sight of the bigger picture. How fitting it is for our characters who are navigating through a maze of mysteries in a nightmare of a town that seems to defy the laws of reality. This episode continues to push us further in the mysterious narrative, amplifying the suspense and pushing our characters to their limits as they tackle both immediate threats and deep-rooted enigmas. As we explore into the labyrinth of the story, we'll dissect dialogues, grapple with revelations, and of course, look at the ever-present danger that our protagonists face in their bizarre world. Are the characters truly seeing the forest, or are they distracted by the individual trees? Let's dive into the breakdown and untangle the cryptic threads that make Episode 8. Moving into this episode, there's a few story threads that we're gonna explore. The mystery of the monster in the basement, what are gonna be the consequences of this, the sad story of Victor, and his growing relationship with Tabbie. And also a huge one, which is the plan of Jim and Randall. One of the things that I want to start this breakdown with is Tabbie, Victor, and Jade, which they are some of the trees in this forest. So going back, season 1 of From left us hanging after the discovery that the power lines in their town lead to nowhere. Victor and Tabbie found themselves venturing into the labyrinth caves beneath the town. This is after the boy in white told Victor what to do. This depicts the chronicles of past inhabitants, only to be driven mad by the inexplicable symbol. The same symbol that Jade sees, the same symbol that Christopher saw and went crazy. And the main reason he wants to go into the caves, but also how the drawings depict a red monster, something that we have not seen before and we have not seen yet in this show. Among the cryptic drawings, we see the lighthouse and the infinity symbol. Through their meanings remain shrouded in secret. The secrets of the unknown combine with the urge to piece together these mysteries, more threads on this enigmatic puzzle, intertwining the past with the present, the known with the unknown, reality with hallucinations. As the characters struggle to make sense of their bizarre surroundings, we as the audience are right there with them, eager to connect the dots, to unveil the secrets hiding in the shadows, and to understand what lies beneath the surface of this strange land. Episode 8 is titled The Forest for the Trees. As we see in this episode, this title becomes incredibly fitting for the unfolding narrative. Some of the big story threads in this episode are the following. Tabbie and Jade discussing the symbol that Jade saw in the caves. This is an instance of characters focusing on specific clues or trees in the dense dark forest of their situation, with the revelation that the monsters which only appear at night also are in the caves. But can you talk about an innovative yet chilling method of combating these creatures? Bullets dip in the extracted bile. As they zoom in on survival tactics, the larger mystery surrounding why this monster exists in the first place continues to be a huge question, representing the huge forest that they cannot yet perceive. Tabbie and Victor conversation offers an ominous warning against the relentless pursuit of answers. The danger of being too focused on the trees is the emphasis here. Those who delve too deep in the mysteries tend not to return. The issue with Mary's withdrawal as a personal and immediate crisis to the mix, the specific events happening in their lives. Like Mary's condition, it serves to distract them from the bigger picture. It has another example of seeing the trees while being blind to the entire forest. Makes you think that that's the reason Mary is there in the first place, to distract some of the characters. So we have a lot to discuss and talk about in this episode, so let's begin. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and it helps the channel in supporting for me to attend Comic-Con as press next month. Super excited for that, so thank you so much for the support. So the opening scene of episode 8 represents us with a surreal and somewhat different interaction between Kenny and his mother. A seemingly normal morning soon spirals into a nightmare with unexpected phone calls as an element of horror to the episode. The repeated phrase, "They touch, they break, they steal," echoes ominously over the phone, with the cryptic warning that no one here is free. This suggests a future threat, perhaps the unseen creatures or forces that have been haunting the town. The reference to 3 could be symbolic or literal, representing 3 individuals or perhaps 3 particular events or challenges that the town or the characters might face. Next come the interesting shift, the stove going crazy and the unnerving side of bugs inside. These elements might symbolize the increasing chaotic intrusion of the supernatural into the character's mundane realities. The presence of the music box in Kenny's dream is a significant motif that ties in with the wider story. The music box is linked with Boyd and Mary, and its presence in the dreams of those close to him could suggest that they're somehow being influenced or affected by Boyd's experiences or the mysteries he's connected to. So when he wakes up from this dream, he finds an injury. It blurs the line between dream and reality, and it could point to the idea that what happens in these dreams has real consequences, as well as a metaphor for the physical impact of the terrifying experiences manifesting physically. The dream sequence serves as the beginning of more strange and disturbing events that are going to unfold as the episode progresses. The conversation between Jim and Randall is a significant highlight of this episode, adding layers of doubt and suspicion about the true nature of the town and its rules. As they work on the radio and the drone, they delve in the speculation about the experiment they suspect is underway. The idea of how far can you push someone before they break could be symbolic of the ordeal the residents are undergoing. Their conversation takes an interesting turn when Randall questions whether the people running the experiment would even want to communicate with them. He casts doubts on their intentions, questioning whether they're trying to help or mess with their heads. Randall's theory about insiders being involved in the strange happenings in the town. As a layer of intrigue, he has suspicions about Boyd, Donna, suggests that he believes that there could be more within the ranks. So this is just craziness that he's saying. I really don't believe that anything that he said was true. This connects to what's gonna happen in this episode with Jim and Randall and how the episode ends. Episode 8 deepens our understanding of the characters and the dynamics between the different layers that we're in. Boyd's interaction with Sarah in the sheriff station reveals Sarah increasing desperation and her urgent need. Her insistence on going back to the woods suggests a strong sense of purpose or perhaps a need for understanding more of the town. And hey, going from what we saw in this episode, the forest is the answer. Boyd recognizes her struggle and finds a way for her to do something. That's something that we saw. Going from this episode, there's a lot of things that happen that makes me so excited for the last 2 episodes. Moving into the conversation between Tabbie and Jade introduced the concept of chaos theory, further deepening the show exploration of supernatural elements. It suggests that the characters are part of a larger, interconnected web of events. This might point towards the idea that their actions have far-reaching implications, or that there's a hidden pattern or meaning to the events unfolding around them. Victor's interaction with Ethan and Julie is significant. Victor, a character marked by the tragedy and the weight of his past, something that we explore in this episode, and I was crying so much when I saw his story and the story of his sister. That was so sad. Despite his limited social skills, he offers Ethan his code, highlighting his concern for others. Ethan's act of drawing a picture for Victor this is so beautiful, and even in the mystery and the everything that's going crazy in this town, there's still a humane aspect to it, and that's what I love the characters and the show. There's a lot of innocence coming from Victor, even though he's like 50 to 60 years old, as well as Ethan. Their friendship is something that I love, as well as the big friendship that Victor has with Tabbie, and that exploration on this episode, which is something that I had to discuss because what happened with the Lighthouse blew my mind. The interactions between the characters in the segments are laced with subtle hints and intriguing symbolism that deepen the mystery and contribute to the development of the show and the story. Jade and Tabbie's conversation in the woods. We see a clash between 2 worldviews. Tabbie, who has personally experienced the horrors of the underground, is pragmatic and direct. Jade, on the other hand, introduced the concept of chaos theory, hinting at the possibility that all bizarre occurrences in the town are interconnected in ways they cannot yet understand, of course. Throughout this, we get to see how Jade is frustrated about everything that's going on. Victor doesn't provide a lot of answers as he wants to protect those he cares about, and that's one of the reasons that he didn't say anything to Jade or Tabbie. But what is interesting about this is that he says that this is his home. Of course, he's the longest character in this town, so he has started to have a connection to the town that the other characters will never understand. When you get your sister, your family, all destroy in this town, in a way, the town becomes his family. It's a way to remember those who died. So when he starts crying and when he explains to Tabbie about the past, we get to understand why that is. It's the only thing that he has remaining of his family, of his mom and his sister. So if I put Victor number one as my favorite characters, there's no doubt why. The many interactions that we have in this episode, it provides a significant look into the characters' personal lives and the complex dynamics they share. Boyd and Ella's conversation reveals Ella's physical health status and how he's better, connecting to the town. Ellis is also going to be a father, however he didn't tell him, so we can imagine that this is gonna be in future episodes, indicating how life in its full spectrum continues even in the face of danger and the many things that are gonna happen in the finale and episode 9. Now moving into the conversation that is really interesting is how Elgin talks about the dreams and how as well is becoming reality similar to Kenny's. Boyd's conversation with Elgin also reveals a potential strategy for dealing with the creatures and using the extracted bile in the monster by using the silver bullets. So let's see if that pans out. I imagine that it is not. So in the diner, when we get to see what happened with Victor and his sister, and when he finds the toy, and that's the moment when Victor and with Tabbie and Jade come in, and later when we continue with that story thread with Tabbie and Victor and what happened and how that connects to the finale, where we get to see the lighthouse, something that we have seen before. We saw the lighthouse back in season 1, and we get something that also Boyd and Sarah saw in the finale of season 1, so it has been ignored. But hey, finally we're about to get answers, and the information that Victor provides about the lighthouse where the boy and girl are trapped, or the kids are trapped, connecting to the boy and sister that Tabbie sees. Now, something that I noticed in this episode, there's a lot of brother and sister. We saw Victor and his sister. We have Julie and Ethan. We have the children that Tabbie sees, which they are boy and girl. So what is the meaning of this? Damon Randall is another story thread that is really important because Randall is going crazy. Similar to what happened with Boyd's wife, I believe that he's going the same route, even kidnapping and holding Donna in the tree. I was not expecting that at all. But hey, the character of Randall is going crazy, even asking Sarah about what happened with her brother. This is so sad, reliving those memories. So Randall is a character that is really causing soul destruction in the town. However, the big part of all of this and the big part of this, in my opinion, of this episode is the cicadas and how they're turning dreams into reality. Talk about making your dreams a reality in a bad way. So we see how the cicadas are affecting the characters, even hurting them. Something that we saw in the episode, in the ending of the episode, where the guy is screaming, asking for help, and we hear the cicadas. I'm not sure if they add the cicadas because of the location that they filmed. That is a big sound, so they have to add it somehow. Makes you think. There's a lot of connections. There's a lot of pieces holding together the decisions, and the cicadas being there, not being there. When Donna goes with the basement with Boyd, and they saw that there's nothing there. What could this mean to the overall story and the cicadas? Now, another plot point. A little bit late in the episode and in the season, I may add something that they should have added in episode 5 or 6. Now, those are some of the things that I wanted to discuss in this breakdown. I will do a video later today. I have to talk about each symbolism and how it connects to the last 2 episodes. So stay tuned for that. This is just a quick breakdown, sharing my thoughts and some of the connections. But so what are your thoughts on this episode? This definitely was one of the episodes that answered a lot of questions, in my opinion, but also left room for unanswered questions and answers. So let's see what happens in episode 9 and then in episode 10. My name is Christian from BM Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, one.